Okay, so now that we have our project set up, let's go ahead and create our brushes. Okay, so we're going to first of all create a brush using brushes. So I'm going to grab my brush tool, okay, and I'm just going to increase the size of it a little bit here, and I'm going to use basically black and white to create this brush. When you set a pattern for a brush, then it's using the black, white and grey of that image or what you've painted on screen to create the brush kind of texture from. So it's using the black as kind of a full color, the grey as a kind of translucent part of that brush, and then the white will be completely clear. So if we go ahead, and I'm just going to paint in a nice shape here, kind of randomized shape. I like a little bit of abstraction, so this is going to work quite nicely. And then we'll go ahead and we're going to fill some of this brush area with some grey. So at the moment I'm working with a 35 pixel brush. Okay, I'm going to increase the size of that brush. Okay, and I can do it here in the brush options up here, or I can right click and use the brush options here. The shortcut for doing this is the right hand square bracket, so just below the backspace key. Okay, we can increase the size of that brush too. Okay, I'm just going to work on one layer here. I'm creating something pretty rough, so I'm now going to go to my color over here and change this to a kind of lighter grey. So these are going to be the translucent parts of the image, and I'm going to change my brush to darken. Okay, the reason for doing this, I'll just go back to normal, is that if I start painting with that brush now, it's going to paint over the black areas of my image. But if I go to darken, it's going to keep the black areas of the image because my grey is not as dark as my black. Okay, and I'm going to harden up the edge here, so I'm going to increase the hardness all the way up to around 80–90%. Okay, and then I'm going to start to fill in some areas of this brush. Okay. Okay, so now that we've got some shapes there within the brush, then we can start to now play with this a little bit. Okay, so I'm just going to add in a couple of other spots of this grey here. Okay, and I'm going to go up to Edit and scroll down to Define Brush Preset. Okay, so basically that's going to take the black and white parts of that image here and make it into an abstract brush. So we'll call this abstract brush and click OK. Alright, so now you can see I've got that brush set up, and because I have grey selected here, it's painting with that grey colour. So I can use the square brackets again to kind of move my brush and paint with it in different areas. Okay, so now let's go ahead and delete everything we have on the canvas there. I'm just going to do Shift and F5 to fill my image with white here. Okay, so Shift F5 will bring up the fill option, and then you can fill it with white. So at the moment my brush is always in the same orientation. Okay, so what I want to do here is actually get it to spin and move around a little bit. So I'm going to do Edit and step backwards, which is Option Command and Z. Okay, and we're just going to take a few steps back. Okay, and now to add a bit of randomization to the brush, I'm going to change back to the default black and white here. Okay, I'm going to go to the brushes option up here, so make sure you've got brush selected, your new brush, and then I'm going to come across here. So we're going to work with the shape dynamics and a couple of other options in order to manipulate the brush here. So I'm going to turn on shape dynamics. I'm going to add a bit of size jitter here, so my brush changes size. I'm going to add a bit of angle jitter. Okay, so now when I paint with my brush, you can see it's starting to produce some nice kind of randomized textures. Okay, so let's enhance that a little bit by turning on the scattering here, and we're going to scatter this a little bit. Okay, so now you can see even with a small brush I get some nice interesting effects going on there. Okay, so we could stick with this and just have some fun with the brush, but I want to show you the text techniques with this as well, and how we can kind of turn this into a grunge style look. Now you can skip straight from here to the part of the tutorial that covers how to apply this to text and to work with the layer mask, or you can go and have a look at how we're going to make a brush from an image.